No? You don't know, you miserable, yeah? Everyone else alright, yes? Welcome to Sheffield Forum Live. My name's Ollie Clark, and I'll be your host for the evening. Don't look too enthusiastic, because don't try it. Everyone alright? Yeah. This is going to be really lovely, isn't it, yeah? You're going to love this next bit, right? We've got loads of empty seats on this side, and so so you all need to stand up and move forward. So yeah, you guys move forward a bit. All you guys go. Empty seats here. Come on. It's a wireless mic, I can come and talk to you now, don't worry about it. Come forward, shift yourself down there. Come on, get up. There. And you. Further forward. Just to show you know, there we go. Perfect. Just about. There's always one awkward guy. That's a little bit better. Now we'll try this again. You alright? Yeah. You alright? Yeah. Jesus wept. I don't know why I keep running to do these things. So, show of hands, who's been to Sheffield Forum Live before? Okay, so we'll test this today. Who's not been to Sheffield Forum Live before? Right, there's three of you that didn't answer to either of those. It's pretty much a yes, no answer question, yeah? Are you confused? No? It's a different venue, but it's the same thing, yeah? Try it. You've been to Sheffield Forum Live before? Okay. Not been to Sheffield Forum Live before? Same three people again, not answering to either? I think we're going to move on, aren't we? So, those of you who've been before, it was a good night, wasn't it? Yep. Jesus. Those of you who've been before, it was a good night, wasn't it? Yes. Good. I don't think this one's going to be, is it? Right, so you guys have not been before, you're in for a treat. So we've got 3 speakers for you tonight. Yes? You can nod. Yes? 3 speakers for you tonight. We're going to have the first one, second one, then we're going to have a break. So you go to the bar, get a drink, go to the toilet, have a smoke, do heroin or whatever the hell you're going to do in the break, and then we'll come back in for your last speaker of the night. Easy peasy, don't follow that, yes? You can all follow that, can't you? Oh, you know, fuck it. Wait, who's on first? Oh yeah, okay, no track. So yes, you're first speaker for the evening, you ready for this? Yes, it's not a comedy night, which is what I'm used to, but you can show some enthusiasm. Yes? You don't just have to listen. You can like, no, it's going to be good this. Yeah, brilliant. No, get him off the books, really. Get out of my bed. Which is what no better speak. So, your first speaker tonight, he is a Commonwealth Gold medallist. Commonwealth Gold medalist. Paralympic bronze medalist. Open winner. Well, you can get it's only Greek open, but Greek open winner. And World number 4, table tennis, an all-round good guy, very good friend of mine. So, keep the clapping going, but a little bit more enthusiastic. That's you said, anyway, you clap, I can see you clapping. Everyone, let's keep clapping. It's Jack Hunter-Spivey!
Hello everyone, are we alright? Everyone looks petrified. As Ollie said, my name is Jack Hunter-Spivey. I'm a professional table tennis player. I'm Commonwealth number 4, British number 1 for the last 8 years. I've not lost a match for 8 years in Great Britain as well, so I'm not too bad at table tennis. To say that, but I was actually born in... Thanks mate. I was actually born in Liverpool, home of the British football team in the world. Liverpool. I'll take it mate, it's alright, I'll take it. I was actually born in Liverpool and I was born with cerebral palsy. But I was first of all born blind and deaf, so when I was born the doctor said I'd never walk, talk, do anything. And my sight and hearing came back at the age of 9 months old. So basically my mum said she was singing in the kitchen when I was a baby, and I turned my head to see who was singing. So I was in mum's bad singing, fell down and came back, but didn't say about the sight. But you know, no, but I was a mute baby, more or less than 9 months old. The doctors still don't know why my sight and hearing didn't come back. So my mum went through a bit of a roller coaster of emotions, of having a completely new baby to having a completely able body baby to, oh my god, he's still 18 months old, can't sit up and crawl, and he's more or less what is wrong. So when the brain scans, turns out I had cerebral palsy. So when I was born in Anfield, we didn't have much money at all. My mum was scraping by. She had a lot of mental health issues herself. She struggled with multiple personality. She's got a multitude of mental health problems growing up, so we really struggled. And at the age of 10, I moved to a place called Widnes, which is just outside Liverpool. And I found sport, so I basically went to a youth club that was for disabled and deprived kids, really. We used to meet kids in a similar situation with finances and stuff. We used to have a hot evening meal, and we used to play a little bit of sport, art and crafts, that sort of thing. And I didn't know why there was a difference, because when I was a kid, I just wanted to be next to Steven Gerrard like everyone else. I didn't know why it was different. I didn't know why I couldn't run in the playground, because at this time with my cerebral palsy, I could move my legs a little bit, I could stand a little bit, but I was in agony. But I thought wheelchairs were for old people, not going to lie. I thought that's what wheelchairs were, a little blanket on your knee and a flask. That's what I thought a wheelchair was. And I just was really confused. It was only meeting other disabled kids that you realise that it's okay, sort of thing. So, and I found table tennis. So in this youth club we were playing, and London won a bid for 2012, around 2005-2006 time. And I didn't know what the Paralympics was. I just heard that London had been given the Olympics and Paralympic Games, and I researched it, and forever then I wanted to be a Paralympian. So I went home and said, Mum, I want to be a Paralympian. And she said, right, okay. My mum was the only person at that time really that believed I would ever make a living out of it, because back then no one was a professional Paralympian. Pre-London, that wasn't a thing. But well, thank God my mum had health problems, because she believed it fully, do you know what I mean? Like it was one of them things. But no, I mean, growing up as well, like we really struggled going to my first training session. My mum was too ill to take me, so I got a charity to take me as a chaperone, and they paid for the first session. It was £2.20. The first table tennis session, and my mum was scraping by. She was sacrificing loads of bread, pints of milk, trying to get the £2 to try and send me to training. And I met a guy called Tony Edge. Now Tony was a Paralympian back in the 70s when the Paralympic movement sort of really took off, and he won a silver medal in table tennis. And he was a lot more disabled than me. He's what we call a tetraplegic, so he's paralysed from like the chest down. Really, he straps the bat to his hand. Like in all, he's a lot more disabled than me. And he said, "Hi mate, do you want to get me table tennis?" And I said, "Oh, you're on a wheelchair, I'll beat you easy." So he said, "No, you won't." So he beat me 22-0. I had absolutely no chance, absolutely no chance of beating him. So he sat me down and he said, "Listen mate, I can see you really enjoy the sport, but you're in agony every point. You're standing up, you're falling down, you can't play like this if you want to play." So he really taught me how to adapt to my disability, taught me how to, he was a mentor in and out of my life really, on and off the table. He was teaching me everything from how to use a wheelchair properly to how to play table tennis and everything in between and stuff like that. And it really, really adapted me. And since then I was obsessed with being a Paralympian. It was everything, I lived and breathed it. I used to keep my mum up at night time whacking a ball against the wall, just trying to practice my technique, and she used to go mad at me for keeping the whole house up and stuff like that. So it was such a journey, and at the age of 14, 15, as I say, I was training in the local club 2-3 times a week, and I managed to get a GB trial, which was in Sheffield. Now, it sounds amazing, but when you're skint and you've got no money, trying to get to Sheffield seems like a foreign land. Honestly, trying to get out of your city when you've got anything. So my mum was trying to get another credit card that was maxed out, just trying to save up. When it comes to the Friday, and the trial was on the Saturday, and she basically said, "Look mate, we can't go, we'll have to go next time." And I said, "Mum, it's okay, don't worry." So, sorry, that was a Thursday. Friday morning comes, I've gone to school, and she rings me at 3 o'clock, says, "Where are you?" I said, "I want to train to Sheffield." She went nuts. So like from school, and took me back with me, and I got on a train to Sheffield, sat in the toilet for 2 hours. I'm not advocating that, by the way, you definitely should take it. So I managed to get to Sheffield and have my trial on that Saturday, and I stayed in the hotel lobby, one of my friends in the room. So I got my trial, managed to get into the GB development team from the age of 15. So from then I was sort of going from Liverpool to Sheffield on and off the trains, and UK Sport have been really good at funding, so they would give me expenses back and stuff like that. But in order to get expenses, you've got to pay the expense out. So there's plenty of times that I would jump on a train and just have to get to the gab and speak to the ticket conductors and just say, "Listen mate, I'm trying to be in the GB team. You're going to just kick me off." Basically, that's what I used to say to them. Be that chat, and I've had passengers pay for my tickets before, or been kicked off trains a lot just trying to get my trial. And at the age of 18, I managed to get into the what we call the World Class Performance Squad. So, which means I was a full-time athlete. I was only earning, what, £8 a year, but I was living with students, I was living the dream. I was hopefully going to become a Paralympian. And one thing that really struck me actually was that I was living in Sheffield for about a year or two doing this and loving it, but I didn't understand what was wrong. I didn't like it myself, I didn't understand how this was different. And it comes to like a 2-week breakdown of my life really, but I don't really remember too much, but I just remember coming to training crying my eyes out. I was wearing the same clothes. Clothes, right? That's a Scouse word for clothes. I was going straight with the same clothes on, stinking. I was late for training. I couldn't get through. My coach was just saying, "Are you okay? What's the matter?" And I'd just pass it off as in like the washing machine broke, or I'm just a bit late, blah blah. And it come to a stage where I was lucky enough that we had access to a team psychologist through table tennis, and he sat me down and said, "What's the matter?" This is over a process of like 3-4 weeks. And I just broke down and said, "I absolutely hate myself. I don't want to be here anymore. I absolutely hate myself." And it got to a stage where I was turning mirrors around in my room. I was covering over reflections. I was not leaving the house. I couldn't face the outside world most days. And which is strange to say when you're a professional athlete living the dream, like you've gone from that little kid. But growing up with a mum with mental health problems as well, I didn't know that wasn't normal. I didn't know that living in this dark bubble wasn't what other people felt like. And it's only when you grow up and you see stuff from my mum's point of view, because I used to go into my mum's room and she's got bipolar, so one day she'd be crying her eyes out and you'd go in and say, "You okay, mum?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, just watched the sad film." And when you're 10 you don't realise, but growing up then you sort of see the impact of it. So I was lucky enough to get help through mental health, and I've been through countless amounts of therapy. I've been through, you name it, I've been there. I've been the darkest times of my life. I've been through 3 suicide attempts in my life, and I'm still competing at the highest level as far as I can. But going to the Paralympic side during my biggest breakdown, I was trying to qualify for the 2016 Rio Paralympics. So the way Paralympic table tennis works, you've got to be like top 10 in the world really to qualify directly for the games. Now with the way the funding works is if you don't qualify, there's plenty of people below you that will qualify basically. So if you don't qualify, you've gone that sport. And although they have been very, very helpful with me, that's the way, the nature of the game. So I was doing really well, ranked 11 in the world, about to go number 10. Then I had this breakdown, I couldn't trade, I was losing matches, I dropped down to maybe 20 in the world. I only had 4 tournaments to build my ranking back up. So it boils down to a time where I had to go for the China Open. So I was flying to China and I worked out if I won this competition, I was gone. I was going to the Paralympics. That was a dream, is what every young kid ever dreamed about, being a Paralympian. So I get there and I'm playing really well. And I beat a really good win semi-final, and if I win this next match I'm going to be a Paralympian finally. So we get there, and in table tennis we play best of 5 sets and up to 11 points. So in the final I was 2-1 down and 10-9 down in sets. So if I lose that 1 point, that's my job gone, that's my whole career gone, that's everything gone, that's my mum's dream, it's my dream, everything's gone if I lose this point. And luckily enough I came through the side, I won to all 10 and I managed to get that dream and represent the country in the Rio 2016 Paralympics. I remember ringing my mum from China. I said, "Mum, I've done it, I've made the Paralympics, it's all come true." She said, "You're going to cost me a fucking fortune." No, I rang her and it was just a moment that I'll never forget. It's just ringing my mum and telling her that we've made it as a team, we've got to the Paralympics, we're doing it. And I went to Rio and it was an absolute dream come true for them 2 weeks. Just going through that whole 2 weeks of not being that guy watching the telly, I was the guy on the telly, and I lost all my matches. I was terrible. But looking back like 8 years ago now, absolutely terrible. But I was a Paralympian. I was doing it, and going forwards as well through my journey, I'm still struggling with mental health. I'm still my last suicide attempt was probably 5-6 years ago now, and it's strange telling you guys that so candidly because I don't view it as my own story, if that makes sense. The best way I can explain it is basically if I have a new iPhone, it feels like a new update, so I've no idea all these apps work, that's my brain. Like it doesn't feel like it's my brain sometimes, so I used to go to training and try and go different ways from the tram route, because I knew if I crossed any big roads, I was going to just launch myself into the cars. I only started learning to drive this year because I knew that if you put me behind the wheel 5 years ago, there was no chance I was ever going to do that. And poor instructor never signed up for that, so there's no point me doing that. But going forward as well through Tokyo and through the pandemic, it was tough. I mean, going to Tokyo, I was, as I say, the ranking system works top 10. I was number 7. I was flying. I was definitely qualified, and I was doing the poster stuff for the Olympics. I was on the billboards and all that sort of stuff. And pre-pandemic, the way that the tournaments worked is that we played your 4 or 5 tournaments around the world. Your opponents will pick his 4 or 5 tournaments, and then your average is your world ranking. So I was, as I say, I think I was floating around number 8. The guys below me, who was going to qualify as well, he he didn't have any tournaments left. I had 2 more tournaments. I was like, all I need to do is get 1 win, I'm absolutely fine. Then the pandemic hit, so he ends up beating the world #1 the last tournament before the COVID hit. He went above me, and then they basically just said, tough luck, you've only played 2 tournaments, that's enough. You've not qualified. So I was like, oh, right, okay, this is not good. So we go into the pandemic, and they brought up a competition called the World Class Qualification Tournament. So basically the last spot for the Paralympics, you go and you play a tournament, the winner of that competition gets the wild card for the tournament. So after 18 months of lockdown, more or less, not playing any competitive table tennis, I was training in my house. I live in a flat round corner, which is the size of a table tennis table in my living room, more or less. So I had the table in there. I was eating dinner off it, me and the missus had to crawl underneath to get to the couch, honestly. Absolute nightmare, but I was training on my own, just practicing my serve. We got given, we call them like a robot, so we fire balls at him and stuff like that. And I was training away just for this one tournament, and I managed to win the World Qualification Tournament and qualify for Tokyo. And it's just that adversity that I've been through all this time, and I'm doing that as well. And it's such a special moment just winning them big tournaments, but then even going through 3 months later and you're going, oh God, I've got to play another Paralympics here, so I've got to train even harder, because the best players in the world, they've been training for 18 months constantly. So I get there, and the best way I can explain playing the Paralympics in a pandemic is it's a little bit like Bake Off. Like, that's the only way I can explain it. So basically, I'd been training for 18 months, and so had they, but no one had seen each other. So usually at tournaments, we play each other every few months. So if they're getting better, you can tell you're getting better, everyone's level, so it's not like that. If you've not seen anyone for 2 years, you've no idea who's good. So it's like Bake Off, you've come with a really, really good cake, or you've come with a soggy bottom, you'll never know until you get the 10th, you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. So I get there, first match of the Paralympics, and I beat the world number 2, 3-0, quite comfortable, and I went, wow, okay, maybe this training's paid off. So I get through to the rounds, and the bronze medal playoff, I played a guy in the quarterfinals called Tommy, he's from Norway. He's won everything in Paralympic table tennis. He's absolutely everybody. He's multiple-time world champion, Paralympic champion, European champion. He was my idol growing up. I used to watch YouTube videos of him. I asked for his autograph first time I met him, but he was an absolute idol of mine. And he was nailed on for the gold really in Tokyo, and I had to play him in the quarterfinals for the medal match. And I managed to beat him 3-2, 12-10 to get the bronze medal in the Paralympics. So that was such an incredible moment to beat the person that you've looked up to so much in such a fine margin, going through everything I've been through. Because one thing I've realised now with everything I've been through, mental health wise and tournaments and everything like that, is if I don't use my story and do things like this and tell others that it's okay to speak so openly about mental health, then what was it for? Why have I been through the darkest places? I've been to places that's scary. Like, I'm Scouse and named as scary places. You know what I mean? Like, they're the darkest places I've ever been in my life. I've been there and contemplated life. I've looked death in the eye, and if I don't use that as a vehicle to help others, then what am I doing it for? So that's one of my biggest motivators. This year I played for the Commonwealth Games. Did anyone watch the Commonwealth Games on TV? Anyone see me? No? Fair enough, shortest mate, I'll take it. I'll take it. I did a speech in a school, they were literally year 4, and I said, "Don't you see me on telly in real?" You weren't even born, everyone was like, yeah, I see you. I'll take it though, I'll take the fans for take it, mate. No, I played the Commonwealth Games, I was #1 seed for the Commonwealth Games. And I'm in such a different place now. I've been with my missus 5 years, she's been really, really helpful, just having that sounding board, doing speeches like this as well. It's been phenomenal. Just this is therapy for me. I mean, you might be enjoying this, but this helps me as well, just to get my story out there and speak to people, because it's okay to not be okay sometimes and speak. And I still go through my struggles now. I still have my down days. I still go through different stuff. I've been taking antidepressants since I was 18 and still continue to do so. And that's one thing I just want to get out there as well, as that we should be talking about it. One thing that I learned, just going off on a tangent, when I started taking antidepressants, I thought it was really taboo. Like, I thought, oh my God, I'm antidepressants. It was a bit like getting some crack from your mate down the street. Like, I can't tell no one I'm doing this. But as soon as you say to someone, oh mate, I'm on antidepressants, you go, oh yeah, me too. Or I've got anxiety, I take them as well. And everyone's like, oh my God, no one talks about this, but everyone does it. So it's one of them sort of things. So in the Commonwealth Games this year, I was doing all the publicity for it, I was doing all the interviews and stuff, and one thing I was really conscious about is I wanted to really enjoy the moment. I might never play a Paralympic Games in this country again in front of a whole crowd. I wanted to enjoy it, and I managed to get to the final, and I had 2,500 people in one room staring at me, screaming my name. And for me, as a big Liverpool fan, that is my Anfield. So I mean, that is me playing in front of the Kop. And I managed to do it with my friends and family. They all had t-shirts on. My mum had a t-shirt saying Jack's mum on the back, as if I didn't know she was. But he had a t-shirt on the back, just everything. And I remember that final point, and I managed to win the Commonwealth Games. This is live on BBC One, and just looking up at my friends and family, because I'm just a frontman of a big band, a big orchestra behind me of people that have helped me, from them training conductors to my mum, to my missus, to people who support me online, social media. I'm just a big frontman of a band, and just to be there in that experience of home games and watch my friends and family cheer just like I am when I've won it as well, then that's my job done. That is my job done, because I'm using my experiences to help other people, and that's one thing that I'm really conscious of now. And one thing that I've learned in all my experience of doing everything in my life is life's one big adventure. It might sound cheesy, but it's one big adventure. So after Tokyo, when I won the bronze medal in the Paralympics, I really wanted to do something else. I wanted to push my boundaries even more, and I thought I'd love stand-up comedy. I'm going to try it myself. So a few months after winning the medal in Tokyo, I messaged Ollie actually and said, look, I want to be a comedian. And basically I went down. I was nervous. Like I was more nervous that first gig than I had ever been for any table tennis match, and it was awful. And luckily people laughed because of my friends and family, but it was a terrible, terrible comedy gig. But I really wanted to get out there, because for me, winning that gold, that bronze medal, and having that adrenaline rush, I wanted a really healthy way of getting that out there, and getting that adrenaline rush from doing big things without going out drinking with your mates and partying. If you can make a crowd of 10 people laugh, it feels amazing. It doesn't feel great when no one laughs, but it feels amazing when people laugh at you. So I've been doing comedy now for nearly 10 months. And I said, due to Ollie, that I'm doing comedy and getting to travel the country. I've just signed with a really big comedy agent at the moment, so if anyone who's doing speeches, he takes 20%, so the money goes up as well. But I'm doing really well with it, and I'm really enjoying it, because it gives me different aspects of my life. Playing table tennis at the highest level is incredible, but it also comes with its own pressures as well. So doing comedy, I can go to a room with people, no one knows who I am. I might make no one laugh and go home again. Whereas sometimes in table tennis tournaments, I'm expected to win, rightly so. I'm number 4 in the world, but I can just be Jack. I don't have to be table tennis Jack, I don't have to be media Jack. I can tell terrible jokes about stuff I would never talk about in public, because it's under the banner of comedy, and that's the best way I can ever do that. So one thing that I would get out to you guys, and it is one big adventure. And the Paralympics for me was my pinnacle, and the Commonwealth Games as well. But your pinnacle might be if you want to play the local football team and you're too scared to go out to that football match. If you manage to get to that first training session, that is your Paralympics. It's all relative to everyone else. Your struggles are your struggles, and you shouldn't ever put them up against someone else, because one of the biggest things that annoys me, people always say, oh, there's always someone worse off. Well, great, but I'm already in this place. It doesn't matter whether someone's got no money or no one's got this. It's my situation. So that's one thing that I would get out there, is that everything's relative to you. Look after yourself, because life is tough. Whether you're in my position, looking great on the telly, or you've got an average job, life is tough, and you've got to check in with yourself all the time to have them sort of. I have now triggers and stuff when I realise when I'm in the house maybe slipping a little bit. So it might be that one morning that I've skipped the shower, and then I'll go, okay, maybe I'm not feeling great today. I'll walk up 10 minutes late, and that might turn to 20 minutes, that might turn to not going to training, and then it's a spiral, I'll continue to spiral. So it's just recognising how to do them stuff, reaching out to people, and knowing how you get by. So I might message a mate and just say, fancy give me FIFA, or something like that, and we'll have a little chat and stuff. Because when people initially say you should reach out to someone, I always thought that was someone with a clipboard, about to sit down, run around together in a white coat. It's not. You just need to speak to your mates, and you might have a deep chat about it, and he might be struggling as well, but equally, you might just go for a coffee, and it's just getting that sounding board out. And that's what I say, just, I know this might be a bit of a deep chat, and I'm really, really sorry about that. But what I'm going to do now actually is, I realise that my life is quite full on. Like being a full-time professional athlete, being a comic, travelling around the world. I've played in some of the biggest countries in the world, about many places, anywhere. So I just wanted to open the floor up to you guys. Has anyone got any questions for me? Completely open. Could be from disability, table tennis, whatever, whatever you want, mate. Yeah?
How do you like reconcile being like an elite athlete? And do you ever just like go, how the fuck did I end up here? Like,
yeah, basically. It's a good question actually, because stepping back sometimes, metaphorically, stepping back and looking at what you do is really, really helpful. Because sometimes as an athlete, when you're at the top of your game, you're always looking at the person above you. You're always looking at that, I lost this game, I did that. Rather than looking back and looking at how good you are, and you can take that into your own life as well, whether that you're in a successful job. I mean, as I say, most of my family think I'm posh, not because I play sport for a living, because I've got a job. Like basically, do you get what I mean? Like it's very perspective oriented. If you look back and just go, you know what, I'm smashing life. I'm doing what I want to do, I'm doing the best things I do, and that's what I do a lot of times. I have a lot of pinch yourself moments as a big Liverpool fan.
I was going to say, do you have, well...
Yeah, I think that's one thing before Tokyo I didn't realise that I needed to do. Like, this is really embarrassing, I don't know why I'm telling the story, but basically, I went to the Rangers match last week, to the Liverpool Rangers, and I'm now the ambassador for the Liverpool Football Club. So I'm the disabled supporters ambassador. And they sat me in the Legends Lounge, basically a 3-course dinner. I had John Barnes, John Aldridge, I had everyone else, legends, Bruce Grobbelaar, and we dinner with them. And then they sat me in the director's box, like to watch the football match. And Steven Gerrard was sat three seats down from me. So, and this was done, bear in mind, I'm with friendly family football, so no one's batting an eyelid. Gerrard sat there. I'm sat there just crying, like literally. Because I wanted to be Steven Gerrard. He was the reason why I wanted to be who I wanted to be. And I shouted him over, and Stevie, I love you so much. I was crying, and he must have thought I had like the biggest disability in the world. I was crying in my eyes, I was honestly. And we got a photo, and it was just, I was looking around watching the cops and getting walk alone in the director's box, thinking, I nearly killed myself 6 years ago today. And I'm sat in the director's box with Liverpool, representing the club at the highest level. So stuff like that, I really do have to pinch yourself, and I think I'm really conscious now of stepping back. Like I was joking with Ollie before that. I was a question on the Chase a few weeks ago. Someone got asked, what sport is Jack Hunter-Spivey known for? I thought, that's fucking cool, isn't it? Like, do you know what I mean, on the Chase? Like Bradley Walsh just said my name. Like, how cool is that? And they're the things that I look back now and try and look, because if you don't look about what your achievements are, then you'll never relish the success of it, because I might never win another table tennis match in my life, so why not enjoy it? So in a long-winded way, yeah, nice one. Is there anyone else got any questions? Yeah?
Oh, that was really good, made me cry. So what's the next big dream for you?
A big dream for me now, I've got the World Championships next month, so hopefully I can do well there, bring back a medal. I've got dreams of I've got a bucket list at the moment, so I'm just trying to go through my bucket list. I want to get myself a headline spot on a comedy gig, which I did a few months ago, thanks to Ollie. I wanted to be on a pro gig on a weekend, which hopefully I can do that comedy-wise. I want to busk in a foreign country, can't play any instruments, but I want to whack a bucket as fast as I can, get me dinner money and go home again. That's literally on my bucket list, and I just want to do things that really excite me, and I'm winning gold medals and doing talks like this, and if I can save one person from doing these talks, then that's my job over. So that's one of my biggest goals at the moment, is just going around and enjoying life, and hopefully being a world champion so I can come back next time and tell you all about that. Anyone else got any questions? Yeah?
Do you talk a lot about table tennis in stand-up? I know you mentioned you'd like to keep it separate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do, yeah. I think because what I don't realise as well, as going back to your question, is I forget how wild my life is, because I do it all the time. So I actually have quite a lot of anecdotes about being an athlete, because travelling around the world playing tournaments is not a normal thing to do. Like, that's not a normal, because I said to the missus, I was like, I was meant to be in Spain on Monday, but I'm not going now because I'm too tired. And she looked at me and said, you've just turned down Spain for a week, all expenses paid. I was like, yeah, but I'm knackered. I've just been to Greece, Slovenia, Spain back to back, so I don't really want to go anywhere else. So it is a strange sort of life. So I do talk about a lot in my comedy, because I think even growing up in a wheelchair with different outlooks, because I see my disability now as a unique selling point. I wouldn't change it for the world. Like, what would I be doing now if I wasn't disabled? So I think just telling jokes about that in my stand-up, it all makes into one, because I feel like it gives me an outlet, really. But, yeah. Anyone else got any questions? Yeah?
Do you have a comedy gig booked?
A comedy gig booked?
Yeah.
Well, Ollie runs quite a few gigs in Sheffield, so if you speak to that man at the back really nicely, he might know. I have got a few gigs coming up. I gig all up and down the country, so I've got one in Leeds a few weeks' time, I've got one in Buncombe a few weeks after that, so I gig quite a lot in Sheffield. So yeah, keep an eye on my social media and stuff, and we'll find you a gig meeting. I'll pick on you in the audience as well. just don't wear a terrible outfit, and I'll just pick on you all night. Anyone else? Yeah? My mum's doing great. Yeah, thanks for asking actually. So My mum, she's really annoying on Facebook. There's basically my second. So my mum lives down south now. She lives in Chichester, so miles away from me. We get to I see like 2. Oh really? Okay. Well, she lives around that sort of way, and she loves it. She's the proudest woman in the world, and she's going through her own struggles. She's still getting mental health advice, but now I'm in a position where I can help her. I don't earn a lot of money. I earn, full disclosure, I earn about 20 odd grand a year. But it means that I can pay my mum's bills if she's struggling. It means that I can take the weight off her mind just like she did when I was a kid. And that's one of the biggest motivators for me, is helping her out as well. So it's a bit of a role change nowadays. I'm just looking after her a little bit. But when we were kids, she only got sectioned 3 times. It was only because she was looking after us so well, they didn't take her away. But I didn't know this till I was 18, because she never told us. So when you go with your dad for a week that you're not seeing for 2 years, you go, why won't my dad for a week? It's because my mum's away in a unit. You don't realise the impact and stuff. So she's doing a lot better at the moment. And hopefully I can bring more medals back, and I'm going to block her on Facebook because she's dead on me. But apart from that, it's all good. It's all good. Anyone else? Yeah?
Do you have any tips for finding motivation? Because you're a very motivated person. So those times where you didn't want to have a shower or get out of bed, what was it that got you going and got you playing table tennis for one time?
Yeah, I think for me it's a tough one, because I was lucky enough that when I didn't want to get out of bed, when I didn't want to go to training, my coaches were belling me off, where are you? Like, why are you not here? So I had that, I didn't know at the time, but a support network around me that was looking after me. And one of the motivators for me at the moment is, as I say, doing crazy things in my life, like comedy and talk, because table tennis is my job. So it really, really motivates me, don't get me wrong, but if you're doing it all the time, it struggles to become a motivator. So at the moment I'm trying to lose a bit of weight, not because I've got the World Championships, because I've booked the holiday the week after, and I want to go around the world. And if I'm honest, that's my biggest motivator, of losing some weight, because I'm going on holiday. Because I do table tennis all the time, so motivation is very unique to other people. Some people might love having motivational quotes around the room, and I used to. I've got a full tattooed sleeve with motivational quotes all over me, and sometimes I look at them and they'll be motivation. Sometimes, I don't know, I'll watch other athletes, or I'll watch a comedian smash a gig, and I'm like, that really motivated me to do something else. So it's really unique to everyone else and what motivates you, but you've got to find that one thing. And when I was struggling the most on a Saturday, because no one needed me to be anywhere, I'd be in bed till 11 o'clock at night, but I knew if I got up and got dressed and washed my face and went to Tesco's for a meal deal, that was my Paralympics. I was out of the house, that was my motivation, because I can't spend another day like this, because I'm trying to help myself. So one thing that I do at the moment, when I speak to my psychiatrist, is he was talking about coming off antidepressants, and I said, well, I'll take them now. It might be a small dosage, because I feel like I'm helping myself every day. I feel like I'm taking something every day to help myself, and that's one thing that you can probably do. Is motivation is seen sometimes as a massive thing, and seeing people like me smash whatever they want to do. Sometimes motivation on that day would just be to get your feet on the floor, and that it's all relative to every single day. That's one thing I've learned going through everything. So yeah, anyone got any more questions? We all questioned out? Yeah? Well, thanks very much for listening to me. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Jack Hunter-Spivey, everyone.